Oh my God, I had so much fun doing this. I think most of you guys know that I wrote a book on making connections. I'm actually republishing that again. So you're welcome, to dig through there if you want to. On riveting, this is kind of just the easiest steps. I didn't want to get into rivet making and all of that. That'll be later on. But now remember, you guys, I did do a large piece, but you guys do not have to work that large. It's like, I love working this large, So I want to show you, this is actually the book that I show this all the time, where I got a lot of my pattern shapes from. So if you can see right here, you can always take a piece like this and shrink it down if you like. And then I made the piece my own. But you can see where with the riveting project, I used the outside of this. Then I used the inside of this and just actually used wire around the edges to be able to get the look. So I'm super excited about this. I'm really excited about riveting again. There's a couple layers of riveting in there. I riveted 3 pieces together. So it was really fun to do. So this was a tool that I introduced. This actually gave me, you could solder or rivet with this, whatever you'd prefer. But to get this height in here, this is actually some tubes that I'll be showing you. It's actually some tubing. This is sterling silver that I got from Rio. And this is a very expensive tube cutter, an inexpensive tube cutter. So this one actually, I show you setup. I use the tube cutter to get my height with my tubes exactly the same size, because I have 4 of them here, I have 4 of them there. There's another one that looks like this that is from, these are both from Rio, you can find them, or Eurotool. If you decide you want these, really, you could also measure it out and just eyeball them, I'm always a person and a big advocate of really just using smaller tools or what you want to in life, you know what I mean? So this was really fun to do. It was fun to get back in. Some soldering in there, riveting. And this is the ring. I have a template for you. So this one is a little smaller. Some things that you'll need this month. I actually have the rivets on my site, small amounts of the rivets. I have a glass jar with a plastic container, that's so I can put, I really wanted these that we can use afterwards. I'm not going to in the future be having so much of the glass containers. They're heavy to ship. Shipping was a lot. But anyway, also I have a plastic top, so then it doesn't get rusted with your flux, with all of your solder in there. So, you could really reuse these. And that's what I love to do, and especially for this course here. So I showed you guys the book. You actually will either I used a tiny rivet like this, or a riveting hammer. You don't have to get a fret. There's actually, if you don't like to spend a lot, you just need one, a little ball peen on the end, or you use the big one. For me, it's like when I was setting rivets in this piece here, it was nice just to use this tiny little hammer. So here's a generic one like that. This is from True Strike. Oh my gosh, these are not expensive at all. And then here's the Fritz. So whatever you'd prefer, just with the riveting hammer, just make your own decisions. And then your anvil. And it's really cool. It's been fun. I'm rewriting, making connections. It's been really fun to pull out these old ideas. If you guys have the book, dig it out and have some fun with it and see where you can go. I think that's everything that I covered. These are the couple tools. Okay, you guys, enjoy yourself. Have fun. Okay. All right, you guys, I want to show you a project this month. Here I have a ring on here. And this is actually a second layer to the riveting. So it's still riveting again. I want to keep it simplistic. It's really just using sheet metal. So for this project, I actually used this little image right here. It is in the book that I have on my Amazon. It's Islamic design. Oh my gosh, I love all these patterns. So you can see I actually did, I cut out a plexiglass, and then I cut out another smaller plexiglass because I really, you know, what we're looking for is this height that I have here in this piece. It's really a fun one. Oh my gosh, I used to do this so much many years ago. So why did I cut it out in plexiglass? Well, if you can see, you know, if you actually go back to, I want to actually frame the outside of this in a wire like I did here. That's why I cut out in plexiglass. I know it's that extra step to get there, but oh my gosh, I just think it really is very decorative and it looks really good. So I'm actually, if you want to know more on cutting out, that's in chapter 3, but I'm just going to get started here and show you, you know, show you how much easier it is with this extra step on here, you know, with the dimension of the plexiglass. This is a annealed wire, so I'm going to hold this here nice and annealed so I can get this movement going. And I know I have to, you know, I know I cover it up as we go. That's always a tough one, but this is really just to get my wire in place. So it's a little different step than the last time I showed you guys. So I just wanted to show you guys this, you know, it's kind of a really nice, you can do, you know, it's really, you can do undercuts, you can do overcuts, and at least if I get close, you know, like this, it's annealed. If you need more on all of this information, like I said, it's in chapter 3. It's a little different chapter, but so this one, if I have trouble, you know, getting my corner nice and crisp, I get in here with my pliers and just make a crisp corner. And if I can get close, once I get this soldered together, I'll be in a really good position to, I mean, you know, once I get this wire soldered together, I'll be in a super good position to, you know, it's just really bringing it around slowly but surely. See how I'm holding my hand right in front of the place where I'm gonna bend it. Then I can do all these undercuts. Now I know it's not perfect right now, but remember, once I get this, you know, once I get this soldered together, my wire, I'll be able to bend it and shape it exactly the way I want it. So I'm gonna cut it here. You know, actually I should have a marker here, but I didn't bring a marker over. So you guys know, I'm actually just gonna mark this. Let's see if there's one behind me. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it right here. You want to make sure you cut it on the flush side, and when you're starting to get into this movement, you want to cut it exactly. Voila. I'll have to file both these ends, but ooh, it's going to be beautiful. Once this end is filed and flush, it's going to be a beautiful shape. So I'm really excited. I'm going to do the same to this piece here, and then I'll show you guys soldering it down and the rest of the steps. Okay, you guys. Now, this is my wire. I'm gonna go ahead and get this soldered together. So, you know, this part here, if I have to, I can use pins, but I just put a little bit of marker on each of the ends. And let's see, okay. I kind of fiddled around a little with it so I can get it to lay straight. But if you guys have to, there's another trick that I do, and that's by kind of pinching in these T-pins. I'll show you later. I don't want to mess with it now because it really is beautifully perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to put my, well, you guys know how to solder. Of course, I'm going to use a hard. I kind of really lately, I've just been using this pick soldering. It's nice and quick and easy. Get my torch out, get my pick. You could use any kind of a torch that you want to. I've been using my acetylene torch lately. I really do not need very much heat at all. This is such a little fragile piece, and I don't want to, you know, I'm gonna try to also anneal this pretty, not anneal it, but just heat it up a little bit here, because if one end is colder than the other with something so fine like this, it's just gonna snap on you. Oops, of course it did. Okay, well, let me go ahead and do this again by keeping this here. Get this piece dunked in my, should be even more annealed now. I was talking too much when I was getting this going. Okay, I'm just gonna be nice and quick. See it there? Get my fire lit. No damage done, luckily. You know, it's always just good to try. My, your solder just kind of pops off a little when it is cold, but that's okay. All right, gonna get in super quick. Here's my end. There we go. Okay. Just the tiniest little flame, and you have your beautiful piece done. I'm gonna quench this. Here's a little tip, guys. I just wanna show you real quick. If I can't get, you know, if I'm having trouble getting my ends to meet, I'll usually put a couple of these T-pins in. They really work well. I use these so much on my work. And you just can get these, you know, planted right next to each other so your wires stay in place, and it works so well. I use these so much in my work. That time it soldered well for me, so I don't have to do it again, but it really helps to hold your pieces together if need be. Okay, well, I don't need this now, but I wanted to show you that tip. So I actually have this piece right here. Should still be annealed, and you can see I really have to get this shaped now. Okay, so I want to get off my soldering block, and I really want to get onto a nice surface. And again, you know, I can bring this wire around, get onto a nice surface so you can really work your piece the way it needs to be worked. So I'm going to start on one end. Start at this bottom. The top is not as important. I want to start with the, I'm going to get this all the way around here. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now I'm going to bring this in here. Now remember, this determines the shape of my sheet metal. I'm just going to cut around here. So if I actually did make it, looks like I just made it too wide at the top. But if, you know, if anything has to be changed, it's just going to be a nice, easy spot up top. This is the area where I'm really interested in it staying exactly the way it's supposed to be. So this one looks like I just have a little bit wide up here. And get these ends changed. Sometimes it's just messing with things a little bit to get it exactly right. Okay. There we go. And this will help pull in all. Okay. I'm gonna make sure this hasn't slipped under. So it's just a little bit of fiddling. I'm just kind of showing you guys. This is the fiddling part of getting here that everybody does. So don't worry if you get in there and you have to fiddle a lot. It's still annealed, so I can get in and burnish this with my pliers and burnish it this way to get the look that I really want on my piece. And if it doesn't fit, I think I could. I'm gonna work with this separately a little bit, but you know, I just really wanna kind of bring my top into the shape it's supposed to be. There, this should fit beautifully. We'll see, guys. Okay. Gorgeous. I'm going to call it a day with this. Beautiful fit. Nice. Okay. I still have one more to do, but you can see it's really important for me at this point to, I'm going to lay it this way, but look at how much height it has in different areas. So I'm going to actually hit this with my rubber mallet and get this flattened out, and I think you're going to be able to see this lay out at a beautiful point. Let's see. There is my anvil. Okay guys, here we are. I have my anvil in view, yay! You don't get to see this view very often. This is I love this. It's actually a pretty heavy rubber mallet rather than the rawhide. And I'm just gonna come over here and I'm gonna very gently hit my piece down. Ooh, I can see which way I need this to lay. And this looks like it'll be nice and beautiful. You don't need very many hits, but you know, it's gonna lay down nicely. I tip it a little bit on the side because I'm gonna put some action on the side. Okay, onto the steps of getting this soldered down. I'm gonna keep this nice and solid, not like last time. So I just sprayed it with flux so I can hit it all over. And I'm just coming in nice and soft from the top. You know, I don't want a big flame, but I just kind of want to hit this evenly, get it all dried up, loosen up my wire a little bit, spritz a little bit more down. So I have a bigger flame, a bushier flame. Should relax all of this and get this laid down beautifully. I think you guys all can see this well. With it a little bit up in the air, I kind of just want to make sure that I don't hit anything too hard, but when I do lay it down a little firmer, see how that just settles in there? Lay it sideways. There we go. We have a better picture of the piece laying down. So, okay. I'm gonna do medium all over the place on the inside, just kind of move it up towards the end of my bezel wire. Actually, I'm gonna do it on the outside because I am not using the outside. I'll be cutting away there. Or actually, I'm thinking I'm gonna do a little bit of decoration on the edges, which will help me out because maybe I'll have a little bit of solder on this side over here, which will help me out, and you'll see. You'll see once I get going. You don't have to cover everything exactly because this will flow. I'm gonna get some really nice flow in here. Okay, I think I'm in good shape. Now if I do get some on the outside, like I said, this isn't gonna be too bad because I plan to do a little bit of decorating there. Now, you guys can do large or small. You don't have to do large like this. I have the pattern in, you know, this is the pattern for this piece. It's much tinier, so you guys can work as tiny. I just am excited about doing a big piece. It's always harder to do a larger piece, so I'd rather show you guys that, and then if you guys decide to scale down, it'll be easier for you, see? So with this, I just have to heat it up. I have to have a pretty high flame. I can do this with butane as well. And I'm just gonna start from the top, and then I'm just gonna hit it under. Get this screen really heated up under here. Get everything nice and relaxed. My screen is cold. So the same as with the butane. I just have to heat this up for a while, and I wanna heat it evenly. I've got a 24 gauge here because I'm using a lot of layers. So I wanna make sure that I heat it evenly or it's gonna start buckling on me. And I don't want that. So I'm really getting this pretty far under on my screen, on the top of my piece. Oops, lifting up a little side here, but that's okay. I'll get it back down again. Get some heat under on this side. You can see how high these are lifting, but that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna start in the center. I'm gonna start where? So I wanna hit it on the inside so these pieces will just move forward and inward. Some of it's relaxing a little. Just work with it gently to get it relaxed. think I'll just work with this whole bottom part that's relaxed. There we go. And I'll move into the top later. Okay. Get under here again. See how nice and flush it's getting. You can see how hot it's getting under here. Getting a lot of action. So when I come up to the top, it should pretty much, there we go. See that nice flow? Beautiful. Gorgeous. Bring this flow up in here. Okay, beautiful. Let's bring it, zipping it all the way around. Get ready to press this right there. There we go. Come back this way. Okay, now I can get this down a little bit better. There we go. This area here, get it all to flow. Got a little repair to do up here. Okay. Got my pliers. If you have a repair to do, you just okay, there we go. Get this straightened out a little bit here. Okay. Okay, I might have some areas back in here. I'm gonna check it all out. I don't know if this is sealed in here. I might actually have to do some pick soldering and get a little bit more down. Here's a piece of solder right here. See if I can get that to flow. See this piece right in here? I'm gonna bring this off and around. There we go. Wherever your heat goes, your solder flows. So, you know, even if you have some areas here, just bring it all around. There you go. Should have it pretty much covered. There we go. Okay. Okay, I've got a little area to repair. I think I'm going to quench it. Make sure, let me bring this down. Solder over here. Make sure this is all brought over. When you're working large, you just have a little bit more trouble. There we go. Okay, I've got a little area to repair, but this one looks really good. You want to let it cool for a little bit. I'm going to check this out in a little bit, and then I'll quench it, and I'll do some cutting out or some more pieces on here. Okay, I wanted to show you guys a little tip here that I like to do. It makes things quicker. When I am getting pieces, you know, I just lay down some pallets right here of medium, and then I lay down, you know, I'm just gonna dip them, lay down what pieces that I'm looking to put in here, make sure that they're flexed, and just do a little bit of layers here. See that? So now I actually am not sweat soldering every single piece, because you get into these tiny granulation and it's just so much work, right? To get into all these little pieces here. Now, if I just, I think I was just looking at this and I was like, oh my gosh, I want one more piece here, one coming towards the center right next to it. So I'm just taking my pallets, laying them down, and then I'm just gonna get, there we go. My studio is so busy and noisy today. I have to apologize. You just never know around this place, you know. What's gonna happen? Oh, there's my palette. Okay, so I also wanted to get on maybe a few more of this granulation. So I'll just show you, you know. I'm doing this teeny tiny. So it's like you could either do the tinning like I showed in one of my films, or I'm just gonna take these and lay it right down where it should be with a little bit of solder under there. There we go. Make sure these are placed right. Good. Oh, I've got one more over there, remember? Okay, I remember. I'm gonna lay this down too. You guys even want to see me solder this? I know you guys know how to solder. Okay, well this fills up my piece because I actually built this piece that's just going to sit on top, and then I'm gonna do some riveting. I think I actually could do a little bit of, right in here. Oop, don't want that piece of solder sitting there, but I might do a little tiny one right here. I'm thinking about having this top piece come off right there, which would help it out. Help it out a little with space. And you'll see what I need later. Okay. Get my piece in order. And this is going to be ready to solder. It looks nice, huh? Should put a couple more in that corner too. Oh my gosh, you can keep going and going, right? Okay, you guys, this is another riveting project. And this is my bottom sheet. I'm really happy with it. I didn't actually scrub this back to silver yet, but oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And I don't really have to worry about filling it in or taking away, because there's gonna be another layer on top of here, just like this piece here. So if you can see inside, I've actually cut some sterling silver tube with my jeweler's saw. So this is actually going to help hold my piece up in the air. You know, this will give me this dimension inside of the pieces. So I'm actually gonna cut 4 that are exactly the same size. How do I do that? This is my tool here. This is actually, I'll have this in the list below. This is a smaller one, and you literally can adjust so many things on here. I can adjust the height, the length. So you can see if I put this piece in here like this, here's where I'm gonna cut with my jeweler's saw. And you can see that I'll just get a very, very slight lift. So if I'm happy with that, I'm gonna just go ahead and show you how I'm cutting on my jeweler's saw. Let's see if I can get this over here. There we go. Here's my regular jeweler's saw that I have. I've got an aught 3 blade. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on here because I've been using this one for a while. Get myself oiled up here. And, oops, no. You guys know when I'm doing film, I drop a lot. You should be used to that by now, right? Okay, so here's my tool that I showed you. This is for cutting height, all exactly the same size. And I'm just gonna hold it down right here. and I'm sitting in my seat. The hardest part is to try to save your tubing once you get it out of here. I remember this. I used to do this, oh my gosh, years and years ago. There's a little holder on the inside. Oop. Okay, there's one. Get another one going. I'm gonna do 4. I'm thinking I have to do 4 tubes to be able to hold this piece up in the air. So, there's 2. I'll show you what it looks like. Get all 4 of mine nice and even and beautiful. Oh, 3. I'll be able to grab both of those. You know how things bounce, but one is saved, and I'm gonna make sure this one is saved too. That's why it's nice to have a tray under your jeweler's saw. Okay, there we go. Okay, okay. So here is what I have. I'm gonna have some tubing that are all cut the exact same size. So, I'll be able to show you guys the rest of this in just a minute. I just wanted to show you this tube cutter. This actually is a tube cutter. Swings open. You can adjust the height and the length right here. And then you can see this little tiny thin slot that your jeweler saw goes into. And that's how you work this. Here we are. Here is the piece that I decided upon. I actually also put together another little red piece here. This is actually 3 pieces. So here's the first one, here's the second, and then here's the third, nice and plain. I kept all the negative space in here. So I want to show you a dimensional piece without soldering. I think it's going to be really fun. You know, so when you're riveting, everything is put together. So, you know, this really is the point that everything is done. I've got this filed. I've got it oxidized. I've got my name put onto the back. I've got the shank put on. Every single thing needs to be done. Now, how do you think this out? I wanted to show you this piece rather than this piece because this one has a lot more layers going on. So if you think about it, I'm going to be putting height onto this piece here and you'll see that. So, you know, for this, I'm actually going to put this, I don't need any height on here. I was thinking, maybe I'll just do a tiny bit of height. And maybe I'll just use one of these screws here. So these are the same rivets. For this piece on top, I'm using 4, and actually I am going to put 4 screws in here too. So it should make it nice and easy. So really, when I talk about this, you want to drill 1 hole at a time. Although for the top piece, see how I have all 4 in here when I'm riveting, but I have none in here. So I really want to get this lined up perfectly. And I have my wood here. I think you guys all can see this. I know it's right on the end. And I am going to just drill the bottom with 1 piece at a time. So I'm going to go through this piece that I have on top. There we go. So I just want to do 1. I'm going to go through this top piece here. I'm just going to raise it a tiny bit. I'll try to put this up higher. I know when you start working with nuts and screws, it is a tiny business here, right guys? Okay, so this actually is going to be a holder for me. So I'm actually, you know what, with this one, I'm going to actually drill all 4 of them at the same time. This is going to be, it'll be hard to get. See, this will raise it up just the tiniest. So I'm actually going to go in, because you know what, it's going to be way too difficult. I think I could go in and get all 4 of these set up at the same time. So I'm going to have to secure this in here, hold it tight. Now I'm going to go into this corner. Remember, the top is already drilled. So let me do this corner next. Actually, I have to do all. I'm going to hold this in place. If you are going to do all of them at the same time, You just have to hold it in place. This is super low, so I can get away with it. But for the next one, okay, so see how everything's being held in place? I'm gonna drill through this, and I can hold this one in place just to make sure everything ends up in the right. Otherwise, I'm telling you, the bottom will shift and you'll have big problems. So the only time you can do this, there we go. Okay, so let me pull this out. I am putting a nut on all these little shorties here. So get my nut on here, go ahead and sit down. What I do is I'm gonna hold on to the back of this screw and get this twisted. The only way to really twist it is just by twisting your thumb. It's really difficult to get these on. Yes, there are like screwdrivers for this too, but I don't really do the screwdrivers. Okay, so we've got 2 of them on. Here's a third one. And then we're just gonna bring this all through at the same time. Again, when you get it on here, just take your thumb and twist it. Oop. Take your thumb and twist it. You guys can hear my studio is nice and loud today. There's a lot going on out here. So this is a really cool project. I'm super excited about really getting back into my rivets again. Okay, last one. Get my nut. So this is kind of like just a briefing of a little bit step up from last month. Last month I showed you guys this, but you know, it's a little different. Now these are actually, I'm just using them as spacers. So I'm not actually riveting with these at all. They're just meant to hold space. When I do this, I have to get them all 4 in at the same time. See that? Which is why it's kind of a little step up from last month. No, I did have it the other way. Okay, you have to remember which way you have it. Okay, there we go. Then it's hard to do this on camera. Okay, there's 2. Get these 2 in. I don't want these to go in too far or I'm gonna have trouble with these 2. This is why it is easier to do one at a time, but I wanted to show you guys something a little, there we go, see that? So now I have a little bit of height in here. The stainless steel blends. I'm gonna hold this on, and I actually need to get 4 more. Now these are the rivets that are holding it down. So remember, again, I'm going to lay this on the top and just kind of twist my thumb. I should actually have it on the up. One is on. Nope. Okay. Okay, you always want to make sure you're holding on to that nut in the background. Okay. All right, there we go. There's one. Once we get 2 of them on, it'll be so much easier. Okay, so at least get this one on. 1. I don't even have to push it all the way through, but if I can get one on this bottom part here, I'll be a lot more secure. And I'm gonna show you how to rivet when you have gems on here that are so close. There we go. And even before I really set all these down, I make sure I have all my rivets on here. So see, I'm holding on to this piece on the other side. So just to give me this little bit of height is a little bit of extra work, but it makes it so beautiful. I feel like, you know, it's like all these little details of just this little bit of height on here gives you some good, little bit of change, you know, that you notice later on. Anytime, it's all the little things in life, I always say. It's all these little things in life that just, oh, see, now that I'm just focused on getting this done and I'm not worried about you guys all watching me, I can get these in here nice and tight. Now, I'm gonna go back in, now if you don't hold on to the top of this nut back here, you're just kind of working against yourself. So this actually will all be on the inside. You do want to be really careful not to scratch up your metal. So I'm going to turn this sideways and I'm holding onto the back to get this as tight as I possibly can. There we go. I'll get it pretty tight, and then you finish it up with your pliers so you don't have too many scratch marks. You know, you could do this with rubber pliers and then you're in better shape, you know, visually, to not get your metal scraped. I try to stay right onto my, right higher up, you know, onto my nut. And these are tapered pliers that I'm using here. I think I've got this here. There we go. These are all nice and tight. Now, see that little bit of tiny height in here? You could use washers or anything you like to. And this piece is complete. Another thing you could do, just, you know, that might be really fun, is to solder these back onto brass nuts, and then you've got your own tops on things. So I like having the stainless steel and the brass, because the brass you can just solder with. Okay, let me see if I'm gonna be able to, I'm gonna have to make shift. No, I think I can get this right onto the curve here. All right, now you guys, again, I'm gonna only set one rivet at a time. You wanna hold your pliers down as far as you can, and then just bring it up. You really just wanna see 1 or 2 threads. Now, I'm working on this piece here. I'm just gonna get right on this little tip, right here, right on that little tip. I don't wanna get near my gem, so I'm gonna really balance this and look under here and make sure, and I can choose between these 2 hammers. I love both of them. This is a Fritz, and it's a tiny one. And with this, I'm just gonna work on spreading my rivet, getting it nice and straight. If you cannot rivet, what you would just do is file it flat and put a little bit of super glue on there. You know, that's allowable. People do that. And I always say, think of 50 hits. And you could see my movement. This time I can hold my thumb here, or my finger here. I'm actually literally spreading this rivet. You know, I'm doing movements like this that I know you don't think of, but there we go. Beautiful. See that? I'm gonna do these other 3 also. Right on the edge here, I'll be able to reach all of these without, you know, I'll be able to reach all of these with no problem. So I'm gonna set these 4, and then I'll show you the next step. These actually, oh my gosh, actually these could, let me see if this will work. I've already cut one off, but I could, these would actually be enough. If I didn't cut this one off right here, I could actually have drilled through the whole piece. Oh my gosh. And had a lot of height on here too. Gorgeous. Gems are beautiful, unharmed. Now my next step, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna join these together. I wanna stay more to the outside. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4 to join together. And let me get my marker and make sure everything is straight. Okay, so for this next one, you know, I kind of want to get up in this space right here. The leaf pattern on here looks beautiful, doesn't it? Okay, so we'll have these two. I'll have 2 down here, and then that should be enough. There. I just need 4. Okay, so let me get in here with my drill. These are nice and secure. If I was worried about it, I could get in. You know, if this was the outside where people's clothes are, I would want to get in here and just make sure that my ends are filed. I'd want to hit it with a little bit of sandpaper to make sure my back is still beautiful once again. This actually will help you. There. There. Okay. Got my marks on here. This is actually a 1/16 drill bit. So I'm going to come in right here. I'm not going to put any other mark on here because I don't need it with my piece. Should be able to slide right in. 2. Remember these, I can put both of these in that I need. Okay, there we go. I know it's scary, right? Okay, these 2, I have height in here, so I'm gonna have to go in. This is the same case as before. You know, I wanna make sure that my point lines up here. So when I go in and drill up here, got a tassel on my hand. I'm just gonna go straight in. Really important, I'm gonna use my taller nuts and screws. See where I'm using the hole too of where it was. So I actually can't move it out of here. I'll have to get these both done up top. Perfect, I'm pretty sure it's perfect. Yep, make sure my sides, yep, everything looks really good. Because once you get a hole in here, there's no going back, you know? No going back. Okay, let's get these bottom pieces in. See these 2 holes here? These will be set here. And let's get the bottom ones in. And there must have been a hole under there. Okay, looking good, looking good. And get a hole here. All right, guys, here is our 4. Now, how do we get some height on here? We're gonna take this out. This is a little fumbly and a little tricky, so don't mind me here. These are the pieces that I showed you that I cut with a tube cutter. That's from the jewelers. There are tube cutters from, there's tube cutters from the hardware store, but they just cut bigger tubes. It's gonna be very difficult. Okay, 1. To cut these tiny ones. Okay, now I've got them on this way. Okay, now I'm gonna have to do this upside down, guys. So that's the tricky part. This, I'm not saying this is the easiest. That's why, you know, when you have rivets in your piece, they're going to be, you're gonna charge a good chunk for them. Or, actually, I'm just gonna do 1 at a time and we'll insert. Let's do 1. We're gonna do this one here, okay? We don't have to have all these in. Let's take these other rivets out. I haven't done height like this in a while, so let's get these out. We're not gonna do it that way, I decided. And we're gonna work on rubber so I can get in here. All right, so here's 1. I'm gonna get the nut on the back, but I'm gonna keep it a little bit loose. See if I can follow my rules and get these done right. Okay, there we go. 1, I'm not gonna keep it, like I said, I'm gonna keep a little bit of room on here so there's room so I can get the rest of these in. Now, I'm gonna be like a surgeon for these. I'm gonna use my tapered. Use my tapered for this one. Pull it out a little. Up. You guys can see it's a little fumbly. I'm not trying to paint you a rose garden. Okay, here we go. Okay, we've got 2 in. How am I going to get these other ones? I know, this is the exciting part, right? How does she get these other ones in? Oh my gosh, I used to always do, see, I can still lift it up. So let me get this piece here. I can still lift it up, stick it through here, get it right into place. So now I've got my 3rd one in, nice and loose. You know, and the cool thing is, guys, you know, I actually could have put my nameplate on here with a nut in between and just have that little bit of raised surface too. Okay, so I've got 3 on. How am I gonna do the 4th one? It gets trickier every time, right? Okay, again, we're like a surgeon, right? Or a goldsmith. So here we are, and here we are. I'm through it. Nope, I'm not through. I missed it completely. Okay. I actually have better light here, but it's sometimes what I'll do, I have better light, but I am, hang on, get my magnifiers on, getting close. Okay, see how high. There we go. Now I can see. There we go, guys. Got my 4th one on. Okay. Take off these magnifiers. Get my last nut. It's going to be beautiful. I'm super excited about this project. And this is a liaison into all this riveting that nobody is doing now. So it's really kind of fun. If you guys are looking for, you know, like a unique statement, your unique voice, think about the cold joins again. You know, it's really kind of fun. Get these as close as I can so I don't have to scrape up. Now this part here will be showing. It will be nice and visual, so I have to make sure, oh my gosh, is this gonna be beautiful, you guys? I thought if I put a rivet right there, there really wasn't room for it, but I think what I'm gonna do, I do wanna hang some pieces. I might just drill down here. I really think I need a little bit more coming down from here, so. Okay, now I'm gonna just work with one at a time. If I have this little bit of height here, I'm gonna make, if I can't get on here and get this rivet straight, which we'll know in a minute, hang on. I like to just have these nuts on the back. You don't have to have nuts on your piece. What do you guys think about that? You don't really need the nuts on here, but that's a different day and a different story, and that's making connections. You can actually, I'm gonna get into some rivet making that's so nice and clean that you can countersink and not even know that you have a rivet in there. It's pretty cool. Okay, so now it's like I want to see, oh look, I can get in and do this rivet here. But if you cannot, you just get a piece, something like this, put it in your vise, and then you work it on the tiniest of anvils like this. This is actually an anvil, so you'd be nice and safe. I'm gonna show you the setting of the rivets on the back, the dimensions we have in here, and then I'm drilling a hole and I'll be getting more in here. But this is all about the other riveting, you know, the riveting that is different. So this is my nice tight one here. Again, you wanna go up. The rules are looser when you have a nut and screw. So like I said, we'll get into, you know, making connections later, which is way more complex. And again, you guys, I'm just doing 50 little hits. You can hear it. They're not big hits, right? Gentle and 50. And now you can see, look at how I'm spreading out my hammer. You know, first you want to kind of work that down. And now I'm really spreading out my hammer. And you really want to try to hit right onto the rivet end. It's even good to have your magnifiers on so you can see exactly and guide it the right way. So I'm actually really working on mushrooming over my rivet. mushroom over my nut. And you're gonna see that. And I'll show you this piece after I finish the last one. Have it nice and tight. Get it snipped off. Hold on to your end so it doesn't fly. Get it into the right position. Okay, now get the ends sanded. Then you're gonna wanna polish it up. Get them filed, sanded, a little bit of polish on here. There's a pretty gritty piece, so. Okay, there's the back of my piece. I do love it. Here's the beautiful front of my piece. You can see all the rivets look beautiful. They blend in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 8 rivets on here. Oh my gosh, I'll be wearing this in a little bit.